Okay, we're actually doing this on Saturday, more or less on time for once. Isn't that nice? Anywho, Impact Wrestling from Victory Road this past Thursday. The latest in Impact's efforts to turn their former pay-per-views into pay-per-view themed TV episodes. It's a little weird since I'm pretty sure that Knockouts Knockdown was dubbed Victory Road earlier this year, but whatever. Right off the bat, this show had several things going for it. No Karen Jarrett, and both Grado and American Top Team did not appear in person and were relegated to one video package each. Now, why American Top Team appeared at all when Jim Cornette is supposed to hate these guys and Lashley was supposed to have left the company 2 weeks ago is a mystery, but maybe I should take what I can get. So, anyway, that's three of the big usual irritants on this show drastically reduced. And another one, the AAA guys, had some attention given to them by creative in an attempt to right the ship, or at least stop it from sinking. Don't underestimate what a difference that can make. In fact, the whole AAA invasion angle was really the only significant story-related segment that happened this week, and the rest was mostly wrestling, meaning they mostly let the wrestlers do their thing, and there was less for the writers to screw up. And maybe this happened because they were focusing all their energy on the AAA angle, and when they only had to try to write one big promo segment rather than writing an entire show, it actually came off well. So I wonder if the recent lazy writing has just been a case of overwork. Anything's possible, I suppose. Now, we're jumping ahead a bit here, but this was the first week where I actually kind of gave a crap about the AAA angle. And why? Because there's finally a story and characters here. Now, until now, this feud was like reading a book that's nothing but like prose passages with all the dialogue taken out. So you know that things are happening, but you don't know why they're happening, or how anybody feels about it. Now we know. James Storm cuts a great promo, explains why he got involved last week, the issues with him and EC3 are addressed. For the first time, Tejano and Phantasma come off like actual characters who are there for a reason. And yeah, it's still about pimping AAA for them, but now they're doing it because they're heels, not because a certain someone backstage has been jerking it to a big AAA poster on his wall. So basically, it stopped being a baffling attempt to prioritize another company's brand over Impact and became a real feud over, company pride, I guess. That's an awfully big improvement. Now, granted, it was awkward as hell when Storm started a GFW chant right when the GFW rebranding is being dropped. Oh, man. But hey, who could have predicted that not working out? Besides everyone who's not Jeff Jarrett, I mean. So aside from that and a few videos, it was mostly just matches until the main event. Now, normally I like a more story-heavy show, but since the storylines have been kind of bad recently, less is probably more. So the show starts with the X Division title match, Trevor Lee versus Petey Williams. Now, Petey has to deal with interference from Caleb Conley. Sanjay never shows up to help him, so I'm wondering if Sanjay is just a backstage guy now. Eventually, Conley gets ejected, but Trevor hits Petey with the belt. I like that they didn't go with the lazy finish of having that be the end of the match. Petey kicks out of the belt shot, and it goes a little bit longer, and then Trevor finishes him off clean. Stuff like that really helps matches like this from getting painted with the overbooking brush. There can be a lot of shenanigans, but if you've got a clean finish at least, a lot of the time that makes up for it. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. Good match. Petey looks like he hasn't lost a step. Still wondering where Desmond Xavier is, though. And then we get our 6 Knockouts tag team match. Incidentally, the only match on the show that wasn't hyped up in the opening video package. Gee, I wonder why. And with this being a wrestling-heavy show, I was holding out hope that the women might finally get a decent amount of time to wrestle here. And they've been getting shortchanged in that department for a while now. But you got your top 6 women here, all in a match together, A lot of them are feuding with each other. You have to figure the Bound for Glory plans are going to involve most, if not all of them, in some way, shape, or form. So maybe they'll finally get some decent time. There's no reason they can't get at least 10 minutes for their match. That's what I was telling myself. Well, not only did they not get 10 minutes, but half the match took place during the commercial break. And that sucks because you had the makings of the most fun knockouts match we've seen in a while here. And when they started breaking out the double team moves and the big spots, it was starting to get really good and exciting, and then suddenly it was over. I really wanted another couple of minutes, but the knockouts just continue to get screwed over every week when it comes to screen time. Still, I liked the match while it lasted, and they did manage to inject a little bit of story in here. They're still teasing Taya Rosemary as the big money match to get hyped for, and also, this was the most aggressive we've seen Allie in a match so far, which the announcers pointed out, so that might be going somewhere as well. So, of course, they made Allie eat the pin again, when this is another case when it would have made so much more sense for Gail to get pinned instead. I don't know why they're still protecting Gail so much at the expense of all the other girls, when Gail being vulnerable as she heads into her last few matches would be a lot more compelling. But, welcome to Gail Kim. In, thankfully, the one and only Grado appearance of the night, Grado gets his first royalty check from the imaginary law firm of Park, Park, and Park, but Joseph Park fucks off before he sees that there's something wrong with it. Maybe the imaginary law firm cut him an imaginary royalty check. I really, really hope this is not going where I think it's going. If they turn Joseph Park into a heel foil for Grado, then the amount of bile I spew forth will be enough to fill a swimming pool. Nevertheless, Grado made only one appearance and it was kept mercifully short. And for that, I'm thankful. So we get our tag team title match. And I'll say this for OVE, this was their best showing so far. I think they're making progress. I don't think the fans are ready to support them over LAX. They had a little support in the crowd during this match, but generally LAX were more over. And it was a good match, but I wasn't on board with the finish. Since this is the only tag team feud you've got right now that's somewhat viable, I feel like the title change happened too soon. This feud has got to last you through Bound for Glory, so why are you switching the titles now, especially when OVE are still trying to connect with the fans? Also, the match felt too short, and it hadn't been built up enough, and then the finish kind of came out of nowhere, so it just felt anticlimactic. And you could tell the audience didn't expect the match to end when it did. They blew their load too soon on this one, in my opinion. OVE needed more work before they won the titles, and where can they go with this feud now? You got no other good heel tag teams. Are you just going to have LAX win the titles back and then start the feud over again? If I was booking, this match would have ended in a DQ or something to set up a rematch later on. Good match, but they tried to get to the payoff way too early here. There's a freaking American Top Team video package where Dan Lambert is talking about some stupid crap. I don't even know, because the second I saw him, I instantly tuned out. Why the hell are we still following up on this? Why are we still checking in with these assholes? Jim Cornette hates them. He wanted them gone. Lashley left the company 2 weeks ago. So why are we following these people who are supposed to have nothing to do with the company anymore? Why are we supposed to care about what Dan Lambert thinks about Lashley when Lashley just quit pro wrestling because of him? This makes no sense. Now, if this was something like Moose going to the American Top Team gym to confront Lashley and bringing a camera crew with him, that would make sense. But Moose didn't appear this week. Instead, we just got continued glorification of a gym owner who coerced one of Impact's biggest stars into quitting because we'd want to give him more attention after that. This storyline just blows. Ugh. Anyway, time for the main event. Johnny Impact versus Eli Drake for the world title. There was about a half hour left in the show at this point. You knew the match probably wasn't going the distance, so I could definitely sense some kind of patented Jeff Jarrett overbooked clusterfuck finish approaching. And, yeah. Yeah. Really good match. Way too early to switch the title, so Eli wins as he needed to. Did the overbooking get out of hand? Yeah, probably. But Johnny Impact is the writer's new golden boy. He's the former WWE guy, so there was no way they were going to have him lose clean. I'm more or less at peace with that as long as Eli wins the match, and Eli was allowed to look strong before the overbooking got cranked up to 11, so I don't think the shenanigans detracted from it that much. And then we got him and Chris Adonis double-teaming Johnny post-match, and we finally get a genuine attempt to make Eli Drake look like a big-time despicable heel. Might be going against the grain with Eli Drake, but at least they made the attempt. And then it just got weird. Garza Jr., of all people, comes out to make the save. I have no idea why. Are him and Johnny Impact buddies? Did they become friends in a backstage pre-tape that got cut for time or something? I don't know. Then LAX show up and start beating down the babyfaces. Then Conan is fighting with some fan at ringside, and then Eli and Adonis are attacking the referees. It's a very chaotic and confusing note to end on. I have little to no idea what was happening here. And I'm okay with that as long as they explain it. But they might want to consider scaling LAX back a little bit, lest they get pushed beyond their means again, like we saw when they were feuding with Patron. It's pretty obvious by now that there was really no plan for Patron versus Low-Key beyond that one title match that got scrapped. And after that, LAX were rendered kind of aimless. Yet now they're attacking Johnny Impact and Garza Jr. Unless the writers want to bring back Laredo Kid and put him and Garza Jr. in the tag title picture, which I'm kind of surprised hasn't happened yet, then what's the purpose of this? I don't know. At any rate, despite the confusion here, at least the episode ended with Eli Drake standing tall. And yes, he got some of his thunder stolen again, but it was by actual members of the roster this time. So, there's that. Gripes aside, this was probably the best show of these TV tapings. Storylines took a bit of a step back, but that was for the show's benefit since a lot of the current storylines are lousy. In large part, they just let the wrestlers carry this, and I feel like some momentum was gained here, but that's more a result of what the writers didn't do rather than what they did. I'm concerned that a lot of the usual problems are just going to kick back in next week. But for this week, I was pretty happy with what we got. How am I feeling? Today I feel alright. I thought the cold was mostly gone, but it kind of kicks back in random intervals. So, not sure what's happening there. I guess it's still lingering. I feel okay right now. Show us how happy you were when you found out that Robbie E got released. Well, I kind of saw it coming because I think they sent him to New Japan or something, and they just left him there, and he hadn't been back since. So I kind of saw the writing on the wall for a while there. So I was kind of expecting this to happen at some point, but yeah, it was a pretty happy moment. Like, yeah. No. Good fucking riddance. Jesus Christ. Can't believe how long that guy lasted. What a loser. Let him never sully my TV screen again. Vince McMahon biopic. Bradley Cooper was offered the role of Vince McMahon. Bradley Cooper, really? Huh. I guess I could kind of see that. Vince McMahon biopic, huh? Interesting. I wonder if that'll be the story of what really happened or Vince McMahon's version of it. Hmm. Uh, Thoughts on the Young Bucks getting sued by WWE for the too sweet gesture? I'm not surprised. That's the kind of petty shit WWE would do. Then again, the Young Bucks did kind of ask for it when they tried to invade Raw this past Monday. To the Young Bucks' credit, though, they wasted no time in releasing a new T-shirt with like the too sweet stuff censored out. So, I credit those guys for a lot of merchandise savvy because they're probably still going to profit off that T-shirt. So instead of like too sweet, they got the too sweet censored thing going on now. Good for them. Yeah, the cease and desist T-shirt is selling like hotcakes. They'll probably make more money that way. Always wondered when you do a live stream, why is it in the 420p quality on the stream instead of 720p in the live stream setup section? Possibly because I don't use Google Hangouts. I use Wirecast. Because I don't know. I think like the Google Hangouts thing got updated, and my computer didn't support that anymore, and it was time for the stream, and so I was just looking around for an alternative streaming method that I could use really quickly, and I found Wirecast, and I was able to get it up and running in like 20 minutes, and I've been using that ever since, and that's probably why it's a lower quality one. Come to think of it, I haven't actually tried to use Google Hangouts since I downloaded the new OS. Maybe I should give that a shot. Yesterday I called you out on the discussion board. Where were you? Probably doing other stuff. I can't live on the Impact Asylum message discussion board all the time. I feel like the critiques about Crystal is either she's useless for not using her powers or Mary Sue for being too powerful. Oh boy. Our first comment about Inhumans from last night. Oy. My issue with Crystal is that she seemed like kind of an idiot, and yeah, she was pretty useless for not using her powers when she should have. I mean, she gets taken by these guards who don't seem to have powers at all for some reason. And realistically, I mean, she's supposed to be one of the most powerful Inhumans. She should have been able to take those guys out no problem. Instead, she doesn't. I don't know why. That premiere was not kind to Crystal. And she was just... I mean, she's supposed to be like one of the major players in the Inhuman royal family, and she just... They turned her into such a... It's almost like they didn't give a shit about her. Like she's the most useless character on the show based on those 2 episodes. I don't know what they were going for with Crystal there. Is the feeling that James Storm undercut his whole point about the USA chance by using the Taco Bell insult against Tejano? Yeah, possibly. I think he could have. I think he probably could have done without without the Taco Bell, the Chihuahua cracks. I don't think there was anything too over the line about that, but he could have done without that stuff. I'm calling you out for referring to Mackenzie Mitchell as McKenna. Why? McKenna is her name. Do you think Sienna would lie to us? Um, let's see. I'm so sick of Josh Matthews talking shit about Allie all the time. Well, he is the heel announcer. It's kind of what he's supposed to do. Thoughts on Vince wanting Jinder to stay WWE champion for a Raw-branded tour of India? Isn't Jinder on SmackDown? Well, from a business standpoint, I get it. I'm not watching SmackDown, so I have no idea how his title reign is going. My guess is not so well. He'd probably be received better in India, but I mean, if he's playing a heel, Vince tends to like heels to get booed even in their hometown. So are they going to want to? Is Jinder going to go to India and try to heal all the Indian fans? Well, for business-wise, I get it. He's your Indian champion. You're going to India. You want him to have the title. Okay, fine. But this whole business of him being hotshot into the world title in the first place, it hasn't worked, I think. I mean, he was a jobber his entire career. Then he wins like 2 matches, and then suddenly he's the world champion. Nobody's gonna buy that. Yeah, I've seen all those pictures of recent SmackDown attendance. Fans are not paying to see him lose; they're just tuning out. So, will it help their business in India? Possibly. But it's also hurting their business in America at the same time. So is it really worth it? Yeah, he does not give Rosemary shit, unlike Allie. He's probably scared of Rosemary. Thoughts on the tweet from Rosemary about you? I asked where my Team Demon Bunny T-shirt was, and she told me to keep my pants on. I assume that means there's a Team Demon Bunny T-shirt in the works. I hope so. I will absolutely buy that. What did you think of the Inhumans premiere? Oy. You know what? I'll save that for last. That'll be the last thing I touch on. Let's see. Gail is like Roman Reigns in terms of being protected these days. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know why they're bothering. I really don't. I still think her being vulnerable in a way that she hasn't been before would be it's such a more interesting way to go. But no, she's always got to be protected. All the time. Even though protecting Allie and Rosemary makes so much more sense at this point. Because they're still going to be here next year, and Gail won't be. If anything, she'll be like an agent or something by then. You're going to miss Robbie E? That's funny. Are you going to watch Gifted? I don't know. I was really skeptical about it at first. And a part of me really wants to see all Fox's X-Men projects fall flat on their ass. Because I feel like that's the only way Marvel's ever going to get the rights back. And, until they get the rights back, they're not going to stop treating the X-Men like shit in the comics. But, I have to admit, I've seen some of the previews. It looks like a cool show, actually. And I do like Blink. I noticed that Polaris has the green hair now, which I didn't notice before. Okay, all right. So I'll check it out. Might not watch it live, but I'll definitely see it. Do you watch Rick and Morty? I've never actually seen it. Heard good things, I just never gotten around to it. Let's see. Thoughts on the Nostalgia Critics review of Green Lantern? I enjoyed it. I think it was it was a little. It seemed like kind of scaled down production wise as compared to what he's been doing in the last couple of years, which I'm guessing is because he's gearing up for the next like really big one. Apparently, his review of it is gonna they're gonna probably premiere that in theaters like they did for the Suicide Squad reviews. That's probably gonna be another really big one. So that's probably where all his energy is going right now. But I liked it. It's fine. It wasn't my favorite one. Let's see. Is it me or do OVE look like jobbers? I wouldn't say jobbers. They look like indie guys. I think they should definitely visit Jolene the seamstress. Maybe try to find some better gear. I think that would help them a lot. Let's see. Let me remind you that her name is Mackenzie. End of story. No, it's not. It's McKenna. Are you calling me a liar? Thoughts on Kevin Owens headbutting Vince at SmackDown weeks ago? I only heard about it. I don't watch SmackDown. Haven't watched it in a long time. You know, is this just another attempt on their part to recreate the Austin Vince thing? Nothing original going on there. We are already getting into LOT and Gotham Season 1 and Inhumans. Oh, boy. Gotham Season 1, huh? Not a flattering comparison. Yikes. Let's see. Is there anything else I need to address here? All right. All right, I'll give you my thoughts on Inhumans, and then we'll wrap this thing up, because I want to go out, because I actually have free time, and I'd like to go to the movies today. All right, Inhumans. First impressions, this show, everything about this production looks rushed to me. Everything. You know, as much as I felt like Legends of Tomorrow was a giant dumpster fire, I will credit them with at least doing everything they possibly could to set that show up. I mean, there were episodes of Arrow and Flash the previous season where they introduced like all the major characters, and so by the time Legends of Tomorrow was ready to debut, they could just hit the ground running. They just, okay, here's Rip Hunter, he's got a time machine, let's all do some time travel shit. And all the characters were ready to go by that point, and I think that definitely helped, at least, like help the audience kind of get some traction there and help them kind of latch onto it. Here, there was no such work involved. They could have, if they were really serious about doing this right. Well, first of all, it would have been a movie, not a TV show. But if they wanted to help the spinoff, they could have gone to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. writers and say, "Hey, can we have like a 1 or 2 episodes where we introduce like the royal family? Like maybe have an episode where Karnak shows up, or Crystal or Medusa or something like that, and just to tell us, okay, here's who the Inhuman. There's an Inhuman royal family out there, and they're doing stuff, and we just want to get the fans ready for the spinoff next season." They could have done that, and I think it would have helped enormously. But none of that groundwork was set up. I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D. has since season 2, they've established like some of the lore, like saying, okay, Inhumans are a thing, they exist. Here's how they were created. But we never heard dick about the royal family. And now all of a sudden we're just meant to. All of a sudden they just drop us like on Adelan on the moon, and saying, oh yeah, there's an Inhuman royal family, and they all live on the moon in this big city. And it's like, guys, this could have been set up before. And so right out of the, they're kind of it's kind of an uphill battle right out of the gate. Cast wise, some of them are better than others. I think Maximus was good, mostly because he's the only character that really does anything. I liked Karnak, although he's kind of underutilized. Gorgon was alright, although he didn't use him very well. Black Bolt was kind of... he was okay. I think with better material, Ants Amount will be fine. Medusa kind of fell flat for me. Crystal didn't do anything. Too soon to tell about her. Lockjaw was cool, though. Even though it seemed like they kind of took him off the board immediately. Alright, the story-wise. Story is kind of a mess. You have Maximus... Okay, spoiler alert, okay? There's going to be spoilers here. You have Maximus stage a coup to dethrone the royal family in the fucking premiere. Alright, if anything, this is something you should build up to and do it in the finale, not in the first fucking episode. I'm going to reference something Linkara once pointed out here. You have to have a status quo before you can shake it up. They barely introduce the status quo before they're shaking up everything. Now the royal family have escaped to Hawaii, and while Maximus is sitting on the throne now, you barely established anything, and now you're just throwing a monkey wrench into it. You threw the monkey wrench into the machine before the machine even got running. And there's also another problem of the royal family being assholes. Okay, Maximus's whole point is he hates the status quo and thinks it's an archaic institution. And he's right. It is, because he opposes this system that allows anyone who doesn't get a cool superpower to be sent to the mines for the rest of their life and work like slaves. Meanwhile, the royal family, the ones who support this system, are living in a fucking palace. In first-class conditions with huge accommodations and good food all the time. Why are we supposed to sympathize with the royal family here? Also, they're really xenophobic towards humans. Maximus comes off like the good guy, except for the fact that he kills a couple people. We're not supposed to sympathize with the villain over the main characters, but that's what ends up happening. And like I said, the whole thing is rushed. I mean, this is something they should have built up to and done it in the finale. Maximus's coup. Just everything happens so fast. Medusa's hair. Yeah, the wig didn't look good. I thought the CG was passable on it, but then they shave it off. Okay, that's Medusa's whole gimmick. She is the prehensile. That's her whole thing. The prehensile hair with a mind of its own. Even if the wig didn't look good, that's really... she's not a character that has a long history of, timeless stories or whatever. She's... the hair is really her whole thing. And they got rid of it in the first fucking episode. Now she's gonna be bald for the rest of the season. Why would you do that? Was that a cost-cutting measure? Locking up Lockjaw so he can't do anything, so you don't have to pay for the CG dog? Probably. But if you're gonna have to cut so many corners to do this on a TV budget, then you knew you weren't gonna be able to fucking do this justice on a TV budget. So why do it at all? If you knew it wasn't going to come off well. Monday, I watched a video, I think Monday Matt did a video on his $3 Theater channel, I think last night. And he talked about a lot of the issues surrounding this. And apparently this came about because it was originally supposed to be a movie, Inhumans was. And for one reason or another, it got scrapped, and then it was rushed into production as a TV show because apparently the Marvel movie and TV divisions have some kind of beef with each other stemming from money issues over Captain America Civil War. You should go watch that video, Monday Matt, on the $3 Theater channel. Go watch that video. He explains all of it pretty well. But yeah, it explains a lot about why Inhumans is the way it is and why it was clearly rushed into production. Yeah, so overall, Inhumans not off to a great start. The music was really good, though. I don't know who did the music, but music was great. Yeah, what else? Oh, God, Jesus. The action. Oh, my God. I'd call the action scenes amateurish, but that would be generous. That would be putting it nicely. The action scenes, I'm like... there's one action scene with Karnak fighting a bunch of guys where I was like, this looks so choreographed. I can't believe they actually... I was like, were these the best takes they had? This was... Like, I can't believe that's what they went with. They didn't reshoot that? Maybe get some different camera angles to make it look a little more believable? There's another one with Medusa and one of Maximus's goons where they're fighting on Earth, and it's like, oh my... Like a fucking film student could have done this, could have shot that better. It's so rushed and so bad. It's like, I can't believe the same the same studio that is reinventing the wheel with action scenes on Daredevil was responsible for this. I don't know what the hell happened. Oh wow. You know, I try to be forgiving of pilots because there's always a learning curve with pilots. So I will. I mean, it's what, like 8 episodes. So there's 6 more. It's not much of a commitment. I'll watch the rest. I'll at least watch the next one to see if things improve, but not off to a great start. Not at all. All right. So there's my thoughts on Inhumans. That's going to be it for now, because I got to get going. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight. I believe next weekend I'm working Saturday and Sunday, so I don't know when the stream will be. Maybe I could try to do it on Friday, or at least a truncated version of it. We'll see. But until then, I gotta go. So thanks for all your questions and comments, and I will talk to you guys in a few days. Later.